This is why, as a dietitian, I don't use meal plans anymore. Now, before I really get into these details, I just want to share this is my experience and how I have seen the most progress or success with people that I'm working with. Of course, there are going to be exceptions to this rule. For example, a bodybuilder is going to absolutely want a meal plan because they're going to want their nutrition to be dialed in. So in the beginning, Matthew Kress, fresh out of nutrition school, fresh out of doing the whole dietetics program, I am young, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and I am giving out meal plans left and right. And I'm working in the hospital. I am then leaving the hospital and I am working with in a private practice with other clients. And then I finally start and I move away and I start up Crush Dietetics. And I am realizing that, holy moly, meal plans are not the most effective way to have progress or see success. How did I come to this realization? Well, what happened was I had been meeting with clients and I was just kind of doing the old song and dance, like, oh, you've come to me for weight loss, you have to do this, this, and this. And then they would come, and I would have success with a variety of clients, but then, I would have this one that was just the exception. And not that I don't like exceptions, I care for every single person that I am working with, and I want them all to be successful. And so it got to be strange for me to say, all of you do this one thing, and then here's my one exception where I'm doing something different. Is my meal plan really the one-size-fits-all thing that actually works? Maybe not. And so what happened is I started having more of these complex clients, but I started talking to people, and I want people to leave my office or leave a meeting with me feeling empowered about what they're choosing to eat, but then for them to come back and say, Matt, what you said really resonated, and I really enjoyed eating this new way, and I'm seeing results. I'm a happy camper. For me to try to give a meal plan and have it not be successful, I need to be mindful because, I want to be helpful. And so I slowly started moving away from meal plans, and this is what I'm doing now. When I get a reoccurring or a new client, is I will look at what they are currently eating. What are their daily food habits? What does that look like? And then I will suggest 1, 2, 3, 4 changes to their already current diet plan. One change if it's one big change, or maybe 4 small changes, or, maybe I switch up the order or I change portion sizes. One thing that I know is that as humans, we are creatures of habits. We love a routine. It's really easy to stick to a routine. Hang on. No. We find it easier to stick to a routine. When you have to make decisions are, and you have to use willpower, those are tiring. And when something is too tiring over a longer period of time, you burn out and you don't have longevity in whatever you're trying to do. Meal plan, dietetics, having a nutrition goal, sure, but also going to the gym. You have to do something and you have to make too many decisions, or if it gets overwhelming, the progress just gets to be slower and your longevity in that activity burns out. This leads into the concept of psychological resistance and burnout. People get burned out when too much is happening. When you can go down a path of least resistance and you make one small change at a time, or you make one change, establish that routine. Once you feel sure-footed, then you make a next change. You feel sure-footed in that section, and then you keep going. The journey long-term is easier, and the person is going to be more successful because there are not too many changes that are happening all at once. Introducing the concept of flexible dieting and saying, hey, life happens. These are the habits that we should maintain, but I understand that, Having a party is part of life. Life happens, maybe you're working late and you deviate 1 or 2 times. That's fine. It's to be expected. If I expect you to be perfect, I'm an irresponsible dietitian for holding you to a perfect standard, when even I can't be perfect and I don't even like meal plans. If I don't like meal plans and I can't even stick to them, how can I expect you to do that? That is just short-sighted on my part, and I can't hold you to that expectation because I don't even do it. What I can do, though, is through my experience with nutrition, I know what works, what doesn't work, what a symptom looks like, and what I can do to best modify that symptom. And I can go for a walk, I can have more protein, I can look at my caffeine intake, I can maybe use more carbs if I'm going to the gym more often. Having knowledge of nutrition and how proteins, fats, carbohydrates, alcohol, micronutrients affect the body, electrolytes, minerals affect the body, is a really smart, backed up, having a global view way of approaching food and nutrition and creating long-term success with people that are confused from all these voices out there that say you can't have this, you can't eat that, you can't do this, you can't do that. Having a backed up view and just having a neutral stance and saying, I understand that when you eat this certain way, you have this certain symptom. Having this missing puzzle piece may help. And then having a gentle suggestion in that certain area usually is effective. What I do think is helpful is finding someone that has a good relationship with food. Finding someone, a dietitian or any nutrition professional. Find someone that knows how to cook and that has a good relationship with food and that understands all of these proteins, fats, carbohydrates, micronutrients, hydration, movement, that has a good lifestyle. And if you were to come to them and you were to say, hey, I have XYZ concern, do you have any insights? They might have some insights for you, and if they resonate with you, you could incorporate them and you could feel better. Which leads to why I have moved away from meal plans again, because everyone comes to me with a different concern and a different perspective and what their daily experience is like. If I were to assign a meal plan to all these different people, shame on me for expecting everyone to bend into my quote-unquote perfect vision of things. I have to see where they're coming from, and I have to say, where is their next step forward, and where are they going to find the most success? Sometimes people, they just need a little bit more protein. Sometimes people, they just need to lay off the caffeine maybe a little bit more, and they need to have a little bit more water. Sometimes people just need to go outside for a walk, and maybe they need a B complex. Maybe they need some vitamin C. Maybe they need some zinc in their little diet. And what is the smallest suggestion? And I'm not telling you what to do. I'm suggesting something. And when I can suggest something, you can take everything I've said and you can throw all of it away and you can go somewhere else. You are more than welcome to do whatever you like with the information. I am never forcing anyone to do anything. But what I am doing is I am giving you information so that you can make an educated decision yourself. And what you can do is, when I give you the choice as a service provider, a nutrition professional, it is up to you to say, yes, I want to choose to do this. If you were to go to the hairdresser, for example, and say, you have this long hair down to here, and you say, I want, a cut to here, and the hairdresser says, no, you're wrong, and they cut your hair all up to here, and you're like, what the hell, man? I wanted something different. You go to a service provider, and you ask for something, and it's up to the service provider to give you something that works for you. And so if you were to come to me, and I give you a suggestion that doesn't work for you, that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to give you something that works for you and that I believe is going to, with all of my experience, that's going to help you go down your path of least resistance towards progress, towards your goal. I also know, and this is maybe just me, but, I know that there's a lot of people out there that are like this, but if someone tells me to do something and I gotta do it, or else, I'm gonna squirm away and I'm not going to do it because, damn you, I can make my own decisions. So having that same approach of giving whoever I'm working with a choice. What is it that, here are my suggestions. What resonates with you? Here are all of my recommendations, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which one resonates best with you? And they'll say, well, I really liked what you said about this one and this one. I'm not so sure about number 3, but 4 does also sound good, or number 3 just sounds like more like later down the road. I'd like to do these first 2 and then 4 and then maybe 3. Having the person make the decision so they have control over their life. If someone tries to control your life, you're going to be like, no, thank you. No, thank you. You can, damn you. But if someone makes a suggestion and then you get to choose how you implement that type of suggestion, more power to you. You're the one that's made the decision. You're the one that's made the progress. And then when you get the results, you get all the credit. And I get to clap and say, yay, good job from afar. And we get to build this community, but you get to have all the credit because you're the one that made the decision and you're the one that had the ability to say yes and no, and to say, yes, this resonates, no, this doesn't resonate. Matt, what do you think about this? I feel this way about that type of suggestion. And I give you context, I give you my ideas, but you're the one that's making the progress and the decisions towards your goal. All right, so editing phase, Matt here. I wanted to touch on something real quick before we move on. So I tell someone, make 1, 2, 3, 4 changes, and I say, hey, I suggest have more protein. And you're like, you're completely new to nutrition. You're like, sure, whatever you say. What the hell does that even look like on the plate? I don't know what I'm doing. I need help. I need to know what it looks like on the plate, or I need to know how many ounces or grams of something that I need to be buying. What am I doing? In that case, instead of giving you a meal plan, I'm going to give you a guide. I'm going to give you a protein guide. That protein guide is going to say, how many grams of protein were you recommended? And then you can pick and choose the types of proteins that you're going to consume on a daily basis. And what's nice about a guide is that maybe your protein needs are going to change. Maybe you start doing more workouts and you want more protein. And you can use the guide to scale up or down the amount of protein that you're wanting. And if you come to my next consultation and I say to you, bump that protein up 10 grams, you've already got the protein guide, and all you have to do is just pick and choose. But if you get a meal plan from me and I tell you you need 10 more grams, I have to make an entire new meal plan for you because I've told you the old one doesn't work anymore. And so I'm spinning my wheels, I'm losing time, but it's better for me to say, here's this guide, use this guide to learn what it is that, 30 grams of protein looks like on a plate. And then, maybe you're a 25-year-old young man that's an athlete and you're like, okay, I'm working out more. I'm increasing my protein. Good. And then you say, hey, mom, and she maybe doesn't need, 120 grams of protein. Maybe she wants 90. She can take that same guide and she can apply it into her own specific way, and she can have her own experience with that same guide. But a 25-year-old guy, and I give him a meal plan, that is going to be completely foreign to his mom and his dad and his friends because they don't have the same goals, meal plan, way of eating. But a guide on what a certain amount of protein looks like on a plate, where protein's coming from, how to organize protein in a meal plan or on a diet, that is applicable to everyone, and that is useful, and that's a long-term tool that you can use forever. And for me, I don't want to say 2 birds, 1 stone, but that's a really efficient way of helping people truly make solid nutrition decisions to build a really good foundation on what it is to eat well. All right, full transparency and more on the scientific side. When I was moving away from only using meal plans towards having a more step-by-step approach with my individual clients, I was also in the process of learning more about sports nutrition. And so eventually I happened upon this book, which is A Guide to Flexible Dieting by Lyle McDonald. And he is a nutrition professional. And in this book, he talks about, there was a study that was done, and they had a certain population, and they went on diet breaks. And so what they did is they introduced not full diet, 100% adherence. They said you're allowed to have a break on your diet. And what they found is that these people that had more diet flexibility were able to sustain a diet more long term. And so this has the argument of the 90-10, 80-20, 90-10 really, approach to having a diet. Do what works really well for you 90% of the time, 10% of the time. Let yourself have a little bit of leeway, let yourself have a break here and there, but always have this rock solid base where I do well with this. It's fine. Life happens. Birthdays happen. Holidays happen. You're allowed to have this diet break here and there, but understanding where your base is, where you're successful and where you feel good, that you can always revert back to, is honestly a really big key to success and having a really good relationship with food, knowing that, yes, I can deviate because I know exactly where I can go back to. And having those diet flexibility concepts in mind, I think is a really powerful tool for the everyday person that I don't think enough people are aware of, which is, part of the reason why I'm making this video. Another thing that is important to mention regarding the difference between making changes one at a time and giving someone a meal plan is that if you give me a meal plan and you say, Matthew, do this because I said so, and I don't understand why I'm doing something, it's my conviction in doing that thing isn't going to last a very long time because there's no reasoning behind, I don't know why I'm doing something. But when you meet with a dietitian or you meet with anyone in the service industry and they give you a suggestion and they give you some reasoning as to why, why should you have your coffee after having breakfast? And you say, well, because if you already have food in your stomach, it will help you with your blood sugar levels. You'll have a more stable blood sugar throughout the day, and you won't feel this peak and then crash, and you should have, and they explain themselves. But if you go to a dietitian and they say, don't have coffee before your meal, wait till after your meal, and you say, why? And they say, because I said so, you should fire them. You should fire them because you have the right to know why you're doing something. And if they can't explain themselves in a coherent way, you have the right to understand why you're choosing to do something. And, because this is your diet, this is your body, this is your choice. And if you don't have a choice and you're doing something just because someone said something, there's no conviction behind that, and your longevity in that decision isn't going to last very long, as opposed to something like, I am choosing to have coffee after my breakfast because I have seen a clear difference in my stable energy. And I feel less of an upset stomach. And, I don't feel this bathroom urgency or, fill in the blank. When you have strong reasoning and you have conviction behind what you're doing and you do it one at a time, you really anchor down these good dietary habits, and that foundation of a good diet habit that you have means that when you do have a party or you do have a holiday, you can revert back to these good habits because you've built a really good foundation. And when you have a good foundation, you have long-term health. So circling back and kind of giving you a summary before we finish up, the reason why I switched to less meal plans and more step-by-step changes one at a time is, because of preventing burnout. I want to have longevity in what it is that I'm recommending. I want to help someone understand what flexible dieting is, understanding that life happens, holidays, birthday parties, things happen. And so understanding and maintaining a good foundation is really good for long-term success. And then finally, being educated and having a reasoning behind why you're making a certain change and why you are making that choice. I make the suggestion and you say, oh yeah, I like that idea. I choose to do that. And you feel empowered and you leave the consultation happy. you're going to have more conviction in your choices and you're going to have better longevity because you feel educated, you feel smart, and you understand your reason for why you're doing something. Having that nutritional education and having you not be dependent on me making the decisions for you. You understanding your solid foundation and feeling empowered about what it is that you're doing long term. All right, so if you have questions, comments, or concerns, please be sure to ask them in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to get to them. Have you ever worked with a dietitian before? Do you have questions about my approach and how I go about doing this type of thing? Please let me know. I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.